WTF indeed, Eric. Alright, Matthew T. Mathers, it looks like, is... Sorry, I apologize. McHenry is up next.
Matt, Green Lantern, Batman.
Alright, so I'm going to try to say more from this story. So, again, another recap. Mad scientist from Antarctica named Morwin takes his son off to Europe, meets a German Nazi employer who supplies him with money, testing experiments, whatever, and so he's trying to find this test subject to make him mortal. Choosing the test subject 1 year later. After months of failed test subjects for his experiment, Morwin searched for a more resilient one around the criminal underworld of England. Morwin and his son Farnrice entered a shabby English tavern to search for potential subjects. The tavern was called the Broken Barrel. The name suited this place as it was a sleazy watering hole where crook, thieves, and con men went to get their fix of alcohol. Morwin and Farnrice were sure to stick out, but luckily there weren't many people inside. Morwin went to the bar and ordered some tea, his son following him like a loyal dog. After receiving their tea, a strange man came into the tavern. He wore a soot-covered coat and a tattered cap upon his long, untamed brown hair. His eyes were slightly hazel and bloodshot. He staggered to the barkeep and slapped a few coins on the table. "Oi, give me my usual," he bellowed. His speech was quick and his words almost blurred together. The bartender knew him as well as his usual, the hardest liquor in all of Liverpool. Once he received his favorite drink, he downed it instantly and slammed his head on the counter. The man's mouth and nose were bleeding slightly. He took out more money and asked for another. "That's enough booze for you, Brody. You already look drunk to me," the bartender said as he pushed the money back to Brody. "Oh, come on, Davy, I need me booze," Brody begged. "My name's not Davy, twit. Now get out of my place," the bartender ordered. "I'll pay you double," Brody pleaded as he pulled out more money from his coat pocket. Before Brody could add the extra money to the pile, the bartender's fist became acquainted with Brody's face. Brody fell backwards off the stool and landed on the floor. The few patrons of the tavern that were there all looked at the scene. Warren watched extremely closely, believing that this man might be a useful candidate for his experiment. Brody took the stool and stood up and swung it at the barkeep. His first swung missed, but hit him in the back of the head as he swung the stool back to himself. The bartender fell unconscious onto the counter. Brody took a bottle of liquor from the shelf and ran it out of the tavern. "He's perfect, Faramir," Morwin said as he put his money on the table and walked to the door. Farnrice followed behind him, attempting to correct his father about his name. Outside of the tavern, Brody's out on the road drinking his alcohol. "Excuse me, sir. Would you like to be a part of a science experiment? We'll pay you well for your services," Morwin asked the inebriated man. "I don't know. You look like a kooky sumbitch." "How about some of the most potent alcohol in the entire world? Atlantean wine? The flavor is quite exquisite," Morwin said as he took out an exotic-looking bottle with spiraled patterns. Brody eyed it as if it were the most beautiful thing in existence. He grabbed the bottle and chugged greedily. The alcohol took effect almost immediately. It was the most wonderful sensation ever. Truly, it was the essence of tranquility in liquid form. Unbeknownst to Brody was the fact that Morwin added a few special ingredients to increase its addictiveness. "So if you give me more of this, will you be a part of my science experiment?" Morwin asked. "You betcha, this stuff is amazing. I've never felt like this in a long while," Brody exclaimed. "Well, follow me. My name is Morwin, and this is Fedrisk," Morwin said and walked to the base of their operation with Farnrice trying and yet another failed attempt to correct his father. To be continued.
And next we have Katie again doing G, I Like to Think of Dead, if I read that correctly.
I have no idea. I can't use that. Alright. See if I can do this with a microphone. I wasn't thinking of that. This poem is by E. Cummings. It's called Gee, I Like to Think of Dead. It means near because deeper. I actually did this as a performance for a class a while ago. It was like a year, so forgive me if I have to check my notes sometime during this. Gee, I like to think of dead. It means near because deeper, firmer, since darker than little round water at one end of the well. It's too cool to be crooked and it's too firm to be hard, but it's sharp and thick and it loves every old thing that falls in. Jackknives and kittens and rosebugs and pennies. And they all sit there looking at each other having the fastest time because they've never met before. Dead's more even than how many ways of sitting on your head your unnatural hair has in the morning. Dead's clever, too. Like, puff goes the alarm off, and the little striker having the best time tickling away everyone's brain, so everyone just sticks out their fingers and they stuff the poor thing all full of fingers. Dead has a smile, like the nicest man you've never met, who maybe winks at you in a streetcar, and you pretend you don't, but really you do see, and you are, my, how glad he winked, and hope he'll do it again. Or if it talks about you, somewhere behind your back, it makes your neck feel all tingly and stupid. And if Dead says, may I have this one, and was never introduced, you say yes, you say, because you know you want it to dance, and it wants to dance, and it can dance, and who cares? Dead's fine. Like hands. Do you see? Who water their flower pots and windows. But they live higher in their houses than you, so that's all you see. But you don't want to. Dead's happy. The way underclothes, all differently inty and solemn and sitting on one string. And if Dead never says, my dear, it's time for your music lesson. And you like music, you do, and to hear someone play who can, but you know you never can, and why have to? Dead's sad, like a thistle fluff thing, which goes landing all the way by himself on someone's rooftop, or who ever heard of growing, and no one expects you to anyway. Dead says, come with me, he says, into the round well, and see the jackknife and the kitten and the penny and the rosebud. And you say yes, you say. Like that you say, yes, I'll come with you. Because I like kittens, I do. And jackknives, I do. And rosebugs, I do. And pennies, I do.